Today we are going to talk about symmetry. And I know that we've already kind of learned what symmetry is, and we have a basic of idea of what symmetry is. But today we're actually going to kind of really look at the details about symmetry and even look at the different classifications of symmetry and basically give you a little bit more knowledge other than the basic idea that you have. We're going to define and illustrate the three types, which is line, rotational, and point. And point is actually part of rotational. It's just more defined. So here are the three types: line, rotational, and point. Line symmetry is the symmetry that you have already grown up knowing. That's when each half of the figure is the image of the other half under some reflection. So think of like a butterfly. Like that's a perfect example of line symmetry. In fact, you can even draw the line of symmetry if you wanted to. So here are some figures that have line symmetry. Okay. Now we need to talk about something a little new. We can actually have more than one line of symmetry. For example, a circle can have multiple lines of symmetry. In fact, a circle can have infinite numbers of lines of symmetry, whereas a rectangle can only have up to 2 lines of symmetry. However, a square could have more if you think about it. I'll let you ponder on that later, that the square can have more than 2, but a rectangle can only have 2. So the next type of symmetry I want to talk about is the rotational symmetry. So this is kind of just like the rotation transformations that we've talked about. This is the difference though. Rotational symmetry happens when the image of the figure, which is remember that's the second thing, not the pre-image, but the actual image. The image of the figure coincides with the figure after a rotation. So basically, you do a rotation and it's right on top of each other. So the magnitude of the rotation must be less than 360 degrees. Let's see what it looks like. So this one we know has, this is a rotation transformation, but it also has rotation symmetry because it has symmetry right on this line, right? Because this is reflected and it's here, right? So that's what a rotational symmetry is, because if you rotate it, and here's one rotation, another one, another one, keep coming. It goes back to your beginning, okay? It's already back to the beginning. And you only had to rotate 90 degrees to be back at the beginning, okay? Whereas this one, here's our symmetry, but you can rotate that. In that rotation, you would need 180. And when you have rotational symmetry, that is 180. So remember, rotational symmetry is anything less than 360. But if it's less than not less than, but actually is 180, it's called point symmetry. So it's going to rotate about a point. So for example, here we have a hexagon, and this hexagon has this line of symmetry, this one. It also has this line of symmetry, this one. And so if you think about it, to rotate it, you'd only have to rotate it about 45 degrees because this image will come onto this image. And so it's not 180, which means that it's not going to be point symmetry, it's just going to be rotation symmetry. No rotating, but I didn't have to rotate a complete 180 degrees. I only had to rotate about 45. So which figures, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, have rotational symmetry, which remember is exactly 180. So we would say these 3 right here, 1, 2, and 3, all of those have rotational symmetry. So remember, rotational is less than 360. Okay, so what about the angles of rotation? So this one here, right, we only have to rotate it just once, 90 degrees, to get, or actually about 45 degrees, right? About 45 degrees to get back to where we need it to. This one, we have to rotate 90 degrees, because if you rotate just 45, then it's kind of just on its side. But if you rotate it a complete 90, you're back at the beginning. This one, again, you can't just do 45 because then you are kind of just have the star tilted. But if you do a 90 degrees, then you're back at your beginning. So it's 90 degrees. So which of the following figures have point symmetry? So these right here, because if you rotate them 180 degrees, you'll get back to your beginning. All right, so your homework is going to be 2 through 6 evens. It goes along with this video, and it's due in class with your notes. So you're going to do 2 through 6 evens on 12.6, and they will go with these notes. Thank you.